afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome everyone to one of our first episodes of Flow with Flo. My name is Flo, and I am your host for the show. Why the title Flow with Flo? Because life is like it's like a river, it's like a journey, and we flow together. And this is the whole principle behind my vision around the show. And I hope that you will journey with me as we flow together into different topics, different titles, topics that inspire, that enlighten, and that help us all to build some resilience. And I am very excited today to introduce a topic which is going to get all of your interest, I'm sure. Come hell or high water, a journey of resilience. So who am I going to be talking to today? I would like to welcome Diana Machingaidze. And Diana, I have the privilege, absolute privilege of saying is also happens to be my sister. Hello, Diana.
Hi, Flo.
How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm
Oh
so honored
my,
to be the first guest.
it is such a pleasure. I couldn't have had it any other way. And let me introduce you just a little bit more for everyone to get to know you. So, who is Diana? Diana is a corporate and commercial lawyer. I must say, my parents have the utmost pride in that particular statement. She's a corporate and commercial lawyer with a lot of experience in deal making, amongst other things. And she really, really is an amazing lawyer. So if you ever need a lawyer, you know where to go. She is also a candidate, an MBA candidate with the Health Business School. And that gives us all a lot of pride. Who else is Diana? Diana is also a loving, loving aunt to a couple of nephews and nieces. She is personally my children's favorite aunt. They are not shy to say it. They also say that she is a better cook than I am. So, yes, well done on that too, Diana.
It's the white sauce in the spaghetti. That's my
Apparent,
secret.
apparently so. Apparently, I'm told I must cook more, a bit more like you. So I will come for lessons. So thank you so much. And last but not least, Diana is let's call her an adventure bunny, right? So she's an avid golfer, very avid. We hardly see her. She's always on the golf course, and she is a thrill seeker. Let me be more specific. She has bungee jumped and she has done other pretty much life-threatening sort of activities. She seems to take a lot of thrill in worrying us all, but this is Diana for you.
Live a little.
Apparently, we all have to live a little. Yeah, I'm trying to get on a bandwagon. I have ridden a Segway. That's as far as I'm going to go. And if I may just take note, I did fall off the Segway. So let's not even go into that topic, shall we? Anywho, without further ado, I would like to hand over to Diana because what I would like to know, Madame, is you have had, I won't give away your age. You've had several years on this life, right? So
I have had a couple of Christmases.
in those years, tell us a bit about what you've been up to, about you, and why did you pick law? And yeah, let's start on this journey of yours. We're really keen to know.
Okay, thank you, Flo, for having me on your show. It's very, very exciting, and for that great introduction, I must say. My journey has been colorful. That's the term I've decided to use. And I'm one of those lawyers who probably has a story that doesn't say I've wanted to be a lawyer ever since I was 5. I wanted to be a supermodel, and then I wanted to be a hockey player, and then I wanted to be a dancer. And somehow the law found me. But sometimes when something is meant for you, it finds you. So
Absolutely.
just to start off with, grew up in tiny little town called Gweru in Zimbabwe, just 4 hours away from the capital, Harare. That's why I did my preschool, my primary school education, and then high school for ordinary level. I did 4 years at St. Dominic's Shishawasha. It was a boarding school. And those that don't know much about boarding schools, it was a mission boarding school, so life was not easy. Picture military camp
Yeah.
kind of vibes. Yeah. And then so I was a prefect there, became a library prefect, and then from there I went to St. Ignatius College, where I was the queen of the castle. It was really amazing. It was a great change of environment. I was head girl there, and I think it's at that point where this resilience journey really started without even knowing. So by the time I got to A level, it was a time where the Zim economy was not doing well, and I was thinking of how to future proof myself. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get into a university outside of Zim because I just wanted to cast my net far and wide. And I was worried that if I only wrote the Zimbabwean exams, they might not be considered good enough or something. So I decided I'm going to hedge my bets and I'm going to register for the Cambridge exams, the Cambridge A levels. Now, the dilemma was I had to teach myself that syllabus because it wasn't taught in school. So
wow, hold on, you had to teach yourself.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit more about this teaching yourself. How did you teach yourself? Listen, we have our son in grade 11, and I feel like I have to teach him the Cambridge syllabus. So how did you teach yourself?
No extra lessons, nothing. The thing about not, having a lot of privilege from financial resources perspective is if you really want something, you have to figure out how to get it, right? So the most that my parents could do was to pay the registration fees, which was quite expensive at the time. It was about $100 per subject. And as a result, I only wrote 2 subjects out of the 3. So I did literature, business studies, and geography. So I only wrote 2 out of the 3. It was a combination of financial issues. And I wasn't confident that I would have enough time to study 8 literature set books. And I didn't want to fail, right? So it was myself and a friend. We decided this is what we're doing. We asked the school for some time off to go and study. So we took about 3 months out of normal Zimbabwean syllabus study to be at home and just study. We figured if we have the syllabus and we have past papers, there's no reason why we can't do this. So I would sit in the room every day from sunrise to sunset and literally get out to use the bathroom, shower. Sometimes I wouldn't even eat, and mom would actually bring food to my room because she's like, you have to eat. But I was so determined, and I'm like, I really need to make this work. And the craziest thing is, before I decided to write these Cambridge exams, I've just failed like every single test that I'd written. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, Diana, you got yourself into this mess. What are you going to do? You just got a D and an E for your midterms. How on earth do you think you're going to pass the final exam? But I just said to myself, look, this is a new concept for me. The syllabus is completely different. I have to just give it the best that I can. And, with the support of a really good friend who is still my best friend to date, we just studied and saw how the questions were raised. And eventually we wrote the exams and I got straight A's. It was unbelievable. And I had to prove to my parents that, look, I can do this, but that requires a lot of faith in yourself, which I seemed to have a lot of at the time. So that was A levels. And then the time came to go to university, and I was hell-bent on going to university in South Africa or somewhere outside of Zim. Simply, again, because I just wanted to broaden my options. Had to take a gap year, in which case I was a teacher for 3 months at my old primary school. I taught grade 3.
Oh, wow. Grade 3 and grade 4, huh? Wow.
Grade 3 and grade 4. And there was this girl in my class, Diana, who was just such a prima donna. I'm like, oh my goodness, you can't be like this. You're my namesake. But yeah, it was an interesting experience being, at assembly, you're standing with the teachers when you used to be the student.
That must be quite something.
Yeah, and I taught everything: English, maths, Shona, geography. It was, yeah.
Wow.
And then I did that for 3 months, quickly realized teaching is a vocation. Both my parents were teachers. Unfortunately, it wasn't my calling. So after 3 months, I left, and then I came to South Africa, where I waitressed I lasted all of 1 week. It was too hard.
Remember that? What was that thing that you said when, when you decided you were not going to do it anymore? You said the challenge was you couldn't control when the clients left the table.
I couldn't. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, I must wait for you for. I was like, no, not doing that. So waitressing lasted all of 1 week, and then I did the takeaway desk instead, where I worked 5 to 10 p.m. I got paid 20 Rand an hour. So it was my 100 Rand a day, worked that 6 days a week. And then I got another job at a toy store called Tassie's at the time, where I worked. So I would do the toy store from 8 to 4:30, takeaways from 5 to 10 p.m., 6 days a week for about 8 months, actually.
You were very busy.
I was. I've always been like this busybody thing, but I was so determined. I'm like, look, I need to save up for uni at least, right? And then I went to Rhodes University, and I suppose I was a bit torn when I got there because in high school and everything, I'd done debating, public speaking, so I knew I had the talent. I just didn't know where I was going to use it. And then I just fell in love with the mock trials that we did and the moot court because I then did a BCom law. My parents thought I'd make a great lawyer. My brother thought I'd make a great chartered accountant. I had zero interest in accounting, like none whatsoever. But I did the BCom law because it was a safe option. It would have given me the opportunity to switch between the two industries if I decided to. But something about, I remember it was contract law, a second semester, first term, where it brought a memory back. There's a time at home, someone came to install a tank where we would store water. And my dad got this guy, he did the installation, etc., but he gave us a faulty tank. So the tank literally came apart. And it could have killed someone when it fell, right? And then now my dad was struggling trying to get the money. And, I said to him, surely there must be a contract that you can uphold. But, no one really knew much about anything, right? And a part of me was like, I want to be able to solve these kinds of problems for people, and contract law, especially for me, because I was like, you can't deliver a faulty product and then just say that, that's the end of the story. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind as, the contract law classes were going ahead. And I took a great interest in it. Of course, we got an opportunity to study a wide variety of law areas in the law, which was also pretty cool. And I just realized I enjoyed it. The criminal law aspect, sure, the stuff that people would get up to you is just like, wow. So it was like stories, right? Every case is a different story, every contract is a different story. People need help with, people need to know what's the best way to structure it. And I think between the commerce and the law, that's where my interests really were. So it got to third year and I was a bit torn between, do I do an honors in economics because I really enjoyed it, or do I complete my LLB? I thought, geez, the LLB is going to be really hard. But then I also said, okay, if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it. I can always go back and do an honors in economics. Not that easy to do law for another 2 years. So, but the bullet, let's do it. And then I did. And in my final year, entered a moot court competition. I won that. I won a couple, actually, spoke in the Supreme Court of Appeal. And I just couldn't believe that this little girl from Gweru, where no one probably even knew, was now in Bloemfontein at the Supreme Court of Appeal about to speak. And never mind ending up in Switzerland, at the also moot court competition. And so it was just such an eye-opening experience. It was very difficult, I must say. Like, study of the law is no easy feat and requires a lot of resilience to just like not throw in the towel and quit. But yeah, and then after that, so you think up to this point I've done everything right. I got the A's that I needed to get to in school. I passed university, got the degree, but I just could not secure articles. And every firm that I went to, I did VAC programs, even with some of the big firms. That's when I realized there was an element of this plan that I hadn't factored in, which was the fact that I'm a foreign national in a foreign country. And that is going to have an impact on my career trajectory. So I moved back home after law school, after final year. I worked at a law firm in Harare for about 2 months. Sat in a tiny little office, and I remember on the first day, all I did was debt collection. I was like, you've got to be kidding. It was a template, change name, address, interest rates. And that was it, from 8 to 5 for about a week. Then eventually I went to one of the partners and I said, can I help you with something? Like, I just feel like, I could be of better use to you. Let me help you research on some of your aspects or your topics. I was just so desperate to do something other than mundane work of debt collection. So anyway, I made friends with one of the senior associates, and then he ended up putting me on a lot of his cases. I'd do his research, I'd write his sets of argument for court, I'd go to court with him. So that became a very enriching experience. It was a very difficult time because, again, the fact that I studied in South Africa came back to bite me, because when you move back to Zimbabwe, you have to write conversion exams if you want to practice there, which is about 8 or 6 exams that you have to write depending on where you studied law. Each exam costs about $100. So I've just moved back from uni. I have my little student savings. I am told that, it's an unpaid internship. Like, they don't even give you transport money. Wow. So at the end of every month, you're getting $0 and you're fast running out of your tiny little savings. And then they said you'd only get paid if you wrote the conversion exams. I'm like, but I can't write the conversion exams because I don't have an income to save up to then write the conversion. So it was a bit of a chicken and egg situation. And it was very frustrating because in the country where I studied, I can't get a job because I'm a foreign national. In the country where I was born, I can get a job, but I can't get paid because I studied in a foreign country and I need to do the conversion. So it was just very frustrating. And then, sometimes success is a combination of opportunity and luck. I am sitting in this tiny little office and I got an email. And, I was invited to do an internship. They said, this is how much we'll pay you as an intern allowance. And then we will give you an offer subject to, getting a visa at ETC. And that was the first big break that I got, because everyone else required me to have a work visa first before I got the contract. And I'm like, but I need the contract to be able to apply for the work visa. And I just didn't get that break until now, right? And, it was, I remember exactly where I was sitting. I went straight to the partner's office and I said, I'm resigning. And they said, no, but we're grooming you to, be a really good associate. I'm like, yeah, but you're not paying me. And they're like, what if it doesn't work out where you're going? And I'm like, what if it does?
And what if it does?
What if it does? I had nothing to lose and exactly. 1,000 Rand intern allowance to gain, which was a lot more than $0.
Yeah.
Went back home. My brother gave me $100. I bought myself a bus ticket and I came to Johannesburg, and I just started and, went from an intern. In a month, I got a permanent offer and, became a candidate attorney. And then the hard part came, which was studying for board exams for here now, which I did, but it required 6 months of driving from Joburg to Pretoria every day. So I had to leave work.
I remember that.
Oh, it was a harrowing journey. So you wake up at 6. Well, no, you wake up before 6. I used to try and be in the office at 6 a.m. so that I could get a head start on the day, because by 3:30, I needed to be on the road driving to Pretoria. And that drive could be an hour and a half if there was like a lot of traffic. So then I'd get there, finish off work, start class at 5:30. Sometimes class would end at 8:30. Sometimes it would end at 9 p.m. And then drive back and then have to do homework and then have to finish work. And it was just the most taxing thing. And I just said to myself, I don't know why I'm doing this. Is this really worth it? But you keep your eye on the prize. I said, I started this journey and I want to finish it. I want to be an admitted attorney. And so I then wrote the board exams. Somewhere along that journey, though, I realized how difficult it was going to be, because even if I qualified and I passed the board exams without permanent residency, I was not going to be able to be admitted here. So I said, okay, back to mitigating plans. What is my other option? I said, you know what? I want to be able to get a global admission that allows me access into different markets. South Africa is great, but ideally my prized goal was qualifying to be a lawyer of England and Wales. And I said, what do I need to do that? And then I needed to be admitted somewhere. And I said, okay, the path of least resistance is I'm going to try and get admitted in Zim. This is in the same year that I'm studying for board exams for South Africa. I decided to start the journey to study for board exams for Zim as well. So I was studying for a total of 10 exams in different jurisdictions.
Wow.
Which was insane. Yeah. And I mean, I wrote the Zim ones the first time. It was 6 papers that I had to write. I passed 4, had to rewrite 2. It was a lot more than I expected to even get. And then that same year, I wrote the South African ones and I passed 3, had to do an oral for one of the papers and then passed it. And it was just such a difficult time because, especially with the South African exams, the first set that we wrote, we had to rewrite them because the papers leaked. And we're rewriting them in October. In November, I was writing my last 2 exams for the Zim ones, all in the same year. And it was just crazy.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
It was insane. But, you know, keep my eye on the prize. I'm like, look, if I get this qualification, if I get the Zim one, it allows me to register for the England and Wales one, and that's the ultimate goal. The South African qualification, I passed everything, wrote the board exams, etc. You know, crossing fingers for this judgment in court that will hopefully allow you know, foreign nationals to be admitted in South Africa, even if they don't have permanent residency. So yeah, and somewhere along the way, you know, my passion for business and commerce came back to the floor, and hence the MBA application. And you know, because I'm constantly saying to myself, I don't just want to be a lawyer. I want to be an all-rounder problem solver as far as possible, you know, and a lawyer who understands business is obviously more marketable. Business and technology are 2 things that are more marketable. So it's a constant search and a constant chase for something, you know.
Yeah.
You have to keep your eye on the prize. There've been a lot of obstacles along the way, a lot of disappointments. And I always have this thing, I give myself 2 days to wallow whenever things don't work out my way. And it's a 48-hour period. After that, we are done wallowing. We are in, okay, what do we do now? Back to, because I feel like it's important. People always say, you know, don't worry about it, don't focus on the negative, but sometimes you need an outlet, otherwise you can't move on. And if that outlet is, I'm gonna sit in my room and cry for 2 days because things didn't work out the way that I want, then I'm going to do that, but importantly, put a time frame to it. Otherwise, you
absolutely
you end up stuck.
I love what you're saying, and I also love how what you are saying is actually it's almost a little recipe you're just giving everyone around how do you keep bouncing back from setbacks. And I love what you're saying about giving yourself 2 days to wallow, having your very own pity party, because
have my pity party.
Exactly, because part of it is
pity party.
Yes, you need to do that in order for you to rebuild the energy to go back to the drawing board. But you must go back to the drawing board. So you can't have a forever pity party, but it is fine to wallow and to feel sorry for yourself and woe is me, and we go from there.
Absolutely.
But yes, and I also wonder, you know, when I talk to you now, everyone else is seeing you here and they're like, she doesn't have a single wrinkle on her face. How is she stressed? She looks amazing. So this is just me commenting from what I see. So how do you?
Thank you very much.
how do you keep yourself healthy and fit? Well, you've been running around doing all these things. What have you done?
So it's not even anything new under the sun. What I do, well, what I've been trying to do a lot lately is lots of self-care. And self-care for me means a number of different things. It means I'm out on the golf course, not because I'm trying to win the game, but because that is therapy for me. It's that mental break. It's the only place where I don't think about work, where I don't think about my trials and tribulations and I can't get to this goal because etc, things that are beyond my control.
Yes.
And then being a bachelorette and living alone means cooking is not my favorite thing to do unless I'm cooking for people. So I actively said to myself, Monday to Thursday, we don't order out and there's no alcohol and it's green juice, water, and cook. I have to find a way to stay healthy because a lot of brain power is affected by your diet, right? So I'm not the best at it, I'll say, but I definitely do try. Go to the gym twice a week, and I only do what I like to do. I like to swim, so I'll go and swim. Because what I realized is the whole going to gym thing didn't work for me because I was doing things I didn't want to do. I don't want to lift weights, and I don't want to do that all the time. I like to swim, so I'm going to go and do what I like to do. When it was COVID and gyms were closed, I like to skip, so I'll skip. Or I'll do yoga, or it's all about finding what works for you. You not everybody. Otherwise, you're going to hate the activity, and then you're not going to do it. And every time you think about it, you're going to be like, oh, I don't like to. So I realized I don't like running, so I don't run. I like to walk though, so I will walk. And either way, it's just getting that movement in and just unplugging. So I like to have 3 hours on a Sunday where it's no cell phones, no Wi-Fi, just me and a book, or me on the couch, or me sleeping. Just whatever it is that you need to do to unplug and just take some time for yourself.
Yes. So I'm hearing sleep and rest are very important components of maintaining, being able to stay resilient. Very, very, very important. And
very important. And you have to be intentional about them because it's not easy. I mean, it's not even easy for me. Sometimes I'm going to bed at 2 a.m, but I will find a slot in the day to try and make up for that sleep because otherwise it's not sustainable.
Absolutely.
You burn out faster than,
Yes, yes. And burnout is real. Burnout is very, very real. So I love how you are giving us little nuggets as you've been going through your story. And there are a couple that I have just made a note of here as you were talking. And one of them I love is keep your eye on the prize. So you must know what your prize is and keep your eye on the prize, and another one that you mentioned, I don't think you even remember saying this. You said, if you really want something, you have to figure out how to get it.
Yeah.
So you can't give up. Just figure out how to get it.
Figure out how to, and a lot of the times, I mean, I really wanted to do an MBA. And I was just like, oh, where am I going to get the money? And for the longest time, I didn't apply because of that. And then I said to myself, well, what if I get the place first and worry about the money later?
Exactly.
Exactly. So you have to figure out how to get it if you want it badly enough, Otherwise, you just postpone and postpone and postpone, and there's never going to be the perfect time to do anything.
Exactly.
Like how anyone who has a family, I mean, you would know, there's no perfect time to have a child.
No.
It's never going to be just right. Or so, yeah, I've tried to say to myself, instead of leaving something for tomorrow, if I can do it today, let's do it today.
Do that.
And if you want something badly enough, you'll figure out how to get it.
Absolutely. And I do love your why behind why you did law. Your story about dad and the water tank and the legal angle around that and wanting to solve problems for people. So your why is very deep. It resonates deeply with you, I see. And that's an important message for everyone else. Your why must be clear. You must know why you are doing something. You must know when something is not working, it's probably linked back to your why. Maybe the why is just not big enough. It's just not there. But if I can, in summary, just look at a couple of keywords that you mentioned here, Diana. You talked about it's important to be decided, to be determined, to have faith in yourself, your mindset. Your
Exactly.
mindset does a lot. And the mind is can be very tricky, right? That why, remember what the law firm you worked for in Harare said. They said, what if it doesn't work? And you said, what if it does? So what if it does? So the upside of thinking positively is so important. It directs where your dream and your vision is actually going to go. Yeah, no, this has been very powerful.
Why must someone invest in you if you don't invest in yourself?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And it's really important to, keep the why in mind and keep your eyes focused on the prize. I mean, it hasn't been easy for me. I've been watching my peers, like rise much faster. And I'm just like, wow, I wish that was me. I wish I did this, etc. But then you just come back to your why and be fair to yourself. Not everyone has the same sort of circumstances. You do the best that you can in with the time that you have, the circumstances that you are in, and acknowledge your progress. It's very easy to always want more, but also remember that what you have now was part of what you prayed for. Or part of what you hoped or wished for. So don't focus so much on the future that you forget that the now is not happening again. It's this moment, and you need to be present in it.
I love that. We're going to make a Hallmark greeting card out of what you just said. It's powerful. I promise you, it's amazing. So thank you, Diana, and that reminder that your plan A must have a plan B. You must always have a plan B. And I loved all your plan Bs. You sometimes just simply defaulted to plan B and you carried on. So you, I think, are giving some really, really important life lessons, especially to young women out there who mustn't give up on their dreams. Don't give up. Young women and young men, everybody, don't give up on your dreams. And do you have any parting words for everyone out there as we wrap up?
Please make sure you have a will, because things get complicated.
Yes, that is going
to be my parting shot. Like, please have a will. You can get it from your bank. They can help you do that, and it's free. And look, you pay bank charges anyway, so you might as well go to them.
Have a will.
Have a will. And to young women especially, that are considering entering into marriages or permanent arrangements, just don't neglect the legal technical things. So, do I get married in community? Do I get married out of community? Do the research on both and then do what works for you. Because I come across a lot of people that are like, I wish I'd known when things go pear-shaped. And it doesn't mean you're planning for trouble. It just means you are having a plan. Plan A.
Have a plan. You have a plan. Thank you so much.
That's pretty much it. I mean, look, above all, I think believe in yourself. You can do so much more if you just believe in yourself half as much as probably everyone else around you believes in you.
So. Absolutely. Those are some wise words there. And I do believe we will be having you back on the show to talk about that wills and legal stuff. The legal stuff we all don't want to talk about. So everyone, Diana will be back and we will be tapping into her legal brain quite a lot more. So we hope that you'll become a regular on Flow with Flo every so often. We will see you.
If I should be so lucky, I'd be happy to be back.
It would be our privilege. So Diana, thank you so much for being on the show, for being so open and so giving. And we pray that the Lord will bless your journey, everything you plan on doing. You have blessed us today. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me.
And to everyone out there, I would like to remind you that we do weekly episodes of Flow with Flo, and you're welcome to find us on our YouTube channel. If you just type Flow with Flo, you'll find us, and we'll be popping up on several other platforms that we'll be telling you about as we go through the rest of our episodes. And I would just like to say, hang in there, and everything that you're trying to do, you can do it. Just go one step at a time. Sometimes you need your plan B, and sometimes you need to make sure that you're looking after yourself. It's very, very important. So on that note, without further ado, we would like to say goodbye for now, and we will be seeing you again. Looking forward to it, and have a blessed day and have a blessed week. With lots of love from Flow with Flow. Cheers.